Mag says, yesterday I got an offer. My agent was shopping my picture book for almost a year. This is my very first big project with a big publisher. Is there something a beginner like me could easily mess up?
Yes.
Yes, there is.
The first thing will be, it's almost stated, understated in your question, and that is tightening up because you're nervous and because you think it's a big publisher. And so all of a sudden you sort of freeze a little bit in terms of artistically. They have hired you because they like your work.
Yeah.
And so the big thing is thinking like, okay, they're expecting me to be perfect and they're expecting me to work in a vacuum, and you're just going to present the whole thing to them and they're just going to be blown away. That's not how it works. The best thing you can do as a beginner, especially with a big publisher and big project, is work with them. Hey, here's some sketches. What do you think of these character sketches? And here's some samples of what I'm thinking the dog looks like, or whatever's the story. And really just kind of, it's a real back and forth kind of thing. And if you have a question, ask the question. Don't try to do it all and then just impress them at the end, because that will end up in disaster.
That's a great point. And that's something that I fell into early on is I don't even know how to put this into words, but I would, when I would first get assignments, I would do what I thought the art director wanted. I was afraid to do the wacky stuff that I had on my portfolio. And so I would tone it down, and then I would have comments sometimes of like, how come it doesn't look like your stuff in your portfolio? I'm like, and the true answer was I was scared.
Right.
I was like, they can't possibly, I don't know why. It's bizarre. But
yeah,
it's like not giving yourself weird permission.
Yeah.
Yeah, or thinking that it should be one way or another instead of just being you. You think it should be this other way because like you're trying to be a pro and this is what pros do. And
I feel like though this is it's a picture book deal for Mag's own idea. Like this is the one that's been pitched, right? So you've probably got a good handle on your style and what the book should be. So now it's just time to execute. I think the way you could really trip this up is not being a clear communicator with how your deadlines are going, how your, just how the project's coming along, just keeping an open line of communication. You don't want to miss, if it looks like you're going to miss a deadline or something like that, just let them know as soon as you figure that out. Like, hey, it's looking like this next week thing isn't going to happen, or I just realized, this is due in a month and I'm going to need another month. Just let them know that kind of stuff. And they're on your side. So, think of it as you would notify your team, if you were injured or something like that and you couldn't play a game. It's the same sort of thing here.
Let me add one more little thing to that too. Watch out for, since it is your individual story, something you're going to have to hold on to very tightly is knowing what your story is about, its core. Because what happens at a publisher is everybody and their brother weighs in on it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you got this cute story about this rabbit learning to play guitar. And then they say, well, what if we add a bully or some other kind of stupid thing? And you're just like, wait, it's not about a bully situation. It's about this rabbit playing guitar. Just know what the story is about, because some things will be just a detail and you're like, okay, I can give them a blue hat. That's fine if somebody suggests that. But if it changes the story when they start suggesting things, and they will, I mean, this happens a lot, know when to fight back and say, hey, that's not what the story's about. Luckily you got an agent. But be clear about what the story's about, and don't just think like, okay, I'll add the bully. I'll put him in the country. Oh wait, no, I'll put him in the city. And like, you're just doing all this stuff.
Right.
Be clear about what the story's about.
Okay. But if you're brand new, this is your first book, how much fight are you going to do? You're not. You're going to be realistic, and you're going to make sure that your book gets published, and you're going to acquiesce to the publisher. That's what, and you kind of have to, right?
And this is how you talk to a publisher. This is how you trick them. You say, they say, hey, you need to add this bully. And then you write back. And the way you say it is not, no, I'm not adding a bully. I don't want to. You say, this story is about this rabbit learning to play guitar. And here's kind of my key points and the emotional points. What you ask the question, what would adding a bully, how would that add to what this story that we're trying to tell is how does that improve the story that I'm
Mhm.
trying to tell? If they come back with something and saying, hey, no, we got to have bully and marketing. I mean, like Will's right. At the end of the day, they have the final say. But if you talk to them about the emotional components of a story and what the story's the kernel of truth that the story is about, they'll have to defend that. They'll be like, oh, wait a second, I don't know why I'm adding a bullet. You know, my secretary suggested that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So just ask the questions. Here's what I'm trying to do. How does your suggestion help that?
Mhm. So I want to bring up something. Jake, it's been a long time since Robot and Sparrow was published.
Mhm.
We've talked about this before. I liked your version before your publisher got a hold of it better,
Mhm.
a
Mhm.
lot better. Now I'm one voice. I could be wrong,
Mhm.
but now that you've had time and distance, do you feel like your original version was better? Do you think they made it better?
The comic version or the pitch, like
The picture book.
the picture book pitch that I sent him a proposal. There's the comic version, then there's the
Mhm.
proposal, then there's the finished book. And you're saying you like the proposal better than
Yeah.
okay.
Burn.
I haven't thought about it, honestly.
What
I
did you
haven't
think, Lee? Did you
I haven't
make
read that book
I just said that
in a
was a
long
nice
time.
burn. Will Burnin.
what?
Burnin, Jake. Your
No.
your book sucks, Jake. What about
No,
the
no,
good
no,
version?
no. But so
I know what you're saying, Will. Like when you're that close to it and it's publishing time,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm still proud of it.
It's a
You should be
beautiful
very
book.
proud of it. I'm not saying
Yeah.
anything about that. What I'm saying is, well, it's kind of like when you watch a movie, right?
Yeah.
And you discuss the movie with someone else, and they're like, I liked it, but I didn't like the ending. And then, and then you talk about what it could have been done, and and we don't have the benefit of alternate realities, right?
Right.
Like I would love to have seen what your book would have done if you had your original in there.
Mhm.
Obviously, because I don't like it as much, I have to think that other people didn't like it as much either. They spent a ton of money marketing it, like they
Mhm.
sent you on a book tour. And
Yeah.
I just want to know what would have happened if they had sent you on that same book tour with your original proposal.
I honestly don't remember what the difference was.
Mm.
Can you send it to me, Jake? I want to see the original one.
Yeah. Because I think I remember the book that I put out was I felt like it was better.
Then that's good.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not a good critic when it comes to those subtle differences. It just
Yeah.
and there's other things that at play. Maybe because I read it for the first time, it had impact, and anything different was going to be
Mm.
like, well, that's not the original thing. So it's hard for me to separate
Yeah.
out and
Yeah.
go, this is why I think your original one was better. It just, yeah.
There's things that I wish I would have illustrated better in the book. Like
Mm.
there's a couple of spreads where I'm just like, I
Mm.
wish I had like started over on that
Mhm.
one. Like there's a couple of bears in there that are very photorealistic because I based them on photos, and I wish I would have just done something more stylized,
Mhm.
and there's a cave and there's a couple of robots too. They're just a little janky that I
Mhm.
wish I'd like gotten better. So
Anyway, I
good
didn't.
question
All
though.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a great question.
Well, we were talking about it, so I was like,
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that's good.
All right, Bailey's up next. Question. We talk a lot about web portfolios, but